Hey, it's Dave White with Quad City Safety. I'll bet your tootsies are getting a little cold these days. With the weather kind of dropping down, we've already seen some flashes of cold weather, but let's face it, January, February hasn't got here yet. And when we go to think about it, we need to really think about how we keep our feet warm. So we can keep our feet warm in multiple places. We can start with the boots that we pick. We can pick a boot. For instance, this Carolina that I have here has Thinsulate in it. So it has a bootie formed around it that's made of a material that helps retain heat. So we keep it warmer that way. This is a non-metallic toe. So when we say non-metallic toe, it's a composite plastic. It works. It passes all the same standards. But let's face it, if we take a piece of metal and put it outside, what does it become? It becomes very cold. Steel, what does it hold? It'll hold whatever temperature. It's kind of like your cast iron skillets. Once it gets hot, it stays hot. Once it gets cold, it's going to stay cold. Then as we've worked through that and we kind of go, well, we got the right boots, what else do we really need to think about? Well, there's aftermarket products that can be toe warmers that we actually, these basically have little stickums to where we can actually put it against our toes, because let's just put it this way, toes are usually the first thing that gets cold, and these just act like those ready, let's call it hand warmers. Once this gets oxygen on it, it makes a little chemical reaction and gets warm. So what else can we do? There's insoles that you can do, and this is a thermal insole. This is one by Little Hotties, but it's a trim to fit, and you probably won't see it, but we'll try to get a little bit closer shot for you to look at. But there's kind of a metallic, or let's say like aluminum foil in here. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to, when we have heat, we don't want to dissipate it. So we're trying to reflect or keep that in and keep, basically, again, like we talked about the cold transfer here, away from our foot. So we got that to throw it to the mix. Finally is socks, socks, socks. Most people are not picking the correct socks. If you're picking a standard cotton sock, that your feet are going to sweat at some point in time, especially if you're in an active job and wearing an insulated boot. Then it's not going to do its job, because once something gets wet, it's going to get cold. So I've picked this one to kind of throw into the mix. This is a Mariano wool. So wool is one of the only natural fibers that when you get it wet, it still gives you an insulation factor. But this blend is also moisture wicking, because remember, if our feet are wet and we're not moving that moisture away from it, whether it's from the sock or a system within the boot, we're not going to be warm all day. So realistically, we're headed towards winter. You need to start thinking about your feet, because it's going to get cold.